developer product development in across all these in over the last 14-15 years, right from development to testing, performance testing, performance engineering. And also I've been with Isha for with training for the last 2 to 3 years, taking batches for performance testing, performance engineering, DevOps, for both uh, the corporate as well as for the batches like this. Right? That's a very short introduction about me. So this course, performance engineering, this is something tailored for people who are in performance testing already, or if you are a performance lead, or if you are working for a QA testing, or if you are a developer. So this is a beginner to intermediate course for performance engineering. Okay, we have tailored. I have used the word tailored because when you go for performance engineering, it is very vast, right? Based on technology, tools, architecture, programming language, software components, performance engineering is a very vast, and there is no real boundary you can actually draw. When it comes to performance testing, you always know it's going to be scripting, execution, analysis, Jmeter, LoadRunner, parameterization, correlation. You can define a boundary, right? But when it comes to performance engineering, it is technology agnostic. Software components are going to be very different from your architecture. So there is not really, you can say that these are the 10 things you have to learn. Okay. So with that in the mind, we have tailored the course so that one, you would be able to expand your skill set from testing to engineering, which is very required in this current state of where the industry is moving towards. And then if you are a lead, or maybe a QA lead, QA manager, there's also going to be very good space for you to learn and then make your career progression in a more technical path. Okay. Now, so what we'll do today is we'll spend some time on explaining the course content. I'll go through what are all things that you're going to learn. Okay. And then I'll go over the sample applications that we'll be using it, how to use those application for your hands-on. Right? So those overview of the application as well, I'll do it, and then we'll take up questions. Meanwhile, anytime if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the comment. I'll also take the Q&A at the last as well. Okay, so before I get into the session, right, I believe most of you again have a background of performance testing or some way or other testing, right? So what I want you to do is probably in the chat, or maybe you can also unmute and tell what it is mean by performance engineering as per you, right? What is it that you're thinking that you are going to learn? It can be anything, right? Whatever that you think. It can be monitoring, it can be uh, database analysis, thread dump, whatever that is coming to your mind, right? Whatever you think you are going to learn from a performance engineering perspective, please put it in the comment. Okay, just for me to get an understanding of you, everyone who has joined the call, right? So just put it in the chat. Um, what do you mean by performance engineering? I'll just note all these things, whatever you are putting in the chat. Understanding the backend to improve application performance, bottleneck identifying during the PT. Good. Yeah. Please send your comments, guys.
automation testing background both to performance system. So I have been with performance testing like 3 to 4 years. So what I do is I usually do testing for this is what I do. But I want to move forward with in terms of a bit deeper analysis in terms of APM tools or as you mentioned threat etc. I understand that this is a technology where it's in motion. I can't go with one particular technology and say that I'm performance engineer. But
Venkat,
I just wanted.
Venkat, unfortunately, your voice is not very clear. Can you please repeat it?
Yeah. My aim is to move from performance testing to performance engineering in terms of APM tools and analysis, at least for basic level of the dump or dump analysis. So this is what I expect. I don't want to no longer want to provide only the Jmeter or LoadRunner test results. I want to add some value.
Okay,
That's how
great,
the
great.
interface is moving. Yeah.
Okay, okay, thanks. Yeah, got it. Okay, to monitor and analyze client-side metrics like CPU, memory, response time. Okay, to meet performance requirements by integrating performance consideration throughout their entire design and development life cycle. Very good. Identify bottleneck and provide suggestion to improve application performance. Very good. For me, it's about finding the exact root cause of the bottleneck, not just identifying the issue, but also identifying why it has happened and what needs to be fixed. Okay, correct, good. Reliability test. Okay. To provide dev teams with more information around RCA for the identified performance issues. Good, great. Learning about the commands required for Linux system performance analysis. Okay, good. Okay, good. I think this is a good compilation of various activity that we do in performance engineering. Getting job with PT alone is getting difficult, so we want to learn. Be absolutely correct. Okay, where to stop RCA or tuning? I'll answer it. Okay, good. Okay, to ensure software applications are fast, reliable, scalable by integrating performance consideration into the every SDLC. Okay, good. Okay, great. Okay. Okay, so I'll just go over understanding the backend to improve application performance, looking to learn about profiling, thread and heap dump analysis, reliability test, finding the root cause of the bottleneck, to meet the performance requirement by integrating performance into the entire life cycle, PET to PE, learning APM tools, dumps, to monitor the client-side metrics, to provide dev teams with more information about the RCA, Linux system performance analysis, getting job with PT alone is not going to be very easy. Where to stop the RCA or tuning? Okay, good, fine. I think pretty much whatever you guys have told is very relevant from a engineering perspective, right? When we talk about engineering, we always the thing that comes to mind is identifying the bottleneck, finding the root cause, why the problem has occurred. When most of the time we know there is a problem, but why? What are the root cause? Is what is engineering is all about? Is our general understanding, right? Which is not wrong. That is absolutely correct. Okay. Now, pretty much, I think whatever you guys told is what the objective of this course as well. Okay, from a job perspective, from a performance engineering need and concept perspective, that is what you're going to learn in uh, the course as well. Okay. See, based on whatever we have, similar to whatever you guys have messaged, right? When the last 3+ years, based on our interaction with various professionals and people who join the course, right? This is what we understood from them, right? They pretty much work for, if you are experienced in performance testing, uh, we do scripting execution using Jmeter or LoadRunner. Sometimes we do monitoring, basic monitoring, whatever the tool they have, the with the access they provide, we go and do the basic monitoring. We provide a summary report once the test is completed. If at all there is an APM tool, we use it to gather some of the metrics. We don't get involved in the bottleneck analysis or profiling. There are separate people who take care of the performance engineering, and we just take care of the scripting and execution and providing a report. Right? That's what our role is. That, and even though we wanted to learn or work for engineering, the scope is not there, uh, and that's one of the main reason for not getting exposed to the engineering as well. Right? Now, what we want the people who say all these things, right? What from with the course, once you join, learn, and do an hands-on at least once. Right? At least once you do everything that I do uh, during your daytime or in the weekend, at least once, right? Then you should be able to confidently go and say that all these things what I've mentioned in the right hand side, right? I know server-side profiling. When I say server-side profiling, it's CPU profiling, memory leak analysis, or memory profiling, client-side profiling. I'm good at taking and analyzing the heap dump, thread dump. It's not about taking the dump, when it's more about when to take this dump. What are the symptoms based on which you will go and take a dump and then analyze it? Analyzing your database usage, AWR reports, using tool like JProfiler, Visual VM, JConsole tools. You should be able to say that I know how to benchmark a server or JVM from a capacity perspective, from meeting your workload. At least you should be very comfortable with one of the APM tool. It can be anything: Dynatrace, AppDynamics, Neuralink, Datadog. The purpose of the APM tools are pretty much same. So, which means even if you know one tool, how to use it, you should be fairly good enough to say that you have experience in APM tool for a diagnostics. You monitoring your servers using open source and commercial tools. And to a certain level, you should be able to comfortable in Linux OS as well. Okay, so the course is tailored in such a way that once you complete the course and do an hands-on, you should be able to go and project yourself and then say all these things whatever you learned and you have done a hands-on. We're never going to go and add a false statement or say that I have experience in engineering, right? Not required. When you can still go and claim some experience, some 6 months, 9 months of experience, but when there's a very good understanding with everybody, right? Not everybody will get an exposure to doing engineering in the project. There are two reasons. One, you might not have an opportunity. People think that you don't have experience, they don't provide you access, and if they don't provide you access, you are not going to gain experience anyway, right? It's a cat and mouse game. So you can pretty much say that you haven't got experience or you haven't got exposure, but out of your own passion, you have learned everything on your own, and you have done hands-on with all these tools and concepts with a real-time application, which will make you lot more comfortable in the interview, and also it will be a very good differentiator when you compare to a people who knows only testing. You're not going to compete with an experienced performance engineer, okay, or with an architect. Their JD is going to be different. Their pay scale is also going to be different. First level is you should be able to compete with other normal performance testers, and easily you should be able to gain the upper hand when compared to them. Okay, that's the first goal. Uh, as one of you mentioned, in a lot of places, just do a performance testing. It's not going to be uh, that easy to get a job going forward, right? So when you're going to be compared with other people, or when they compare with the people who are there already in the organization, right? They might have already a lot of people who knows this. Then why should I go and hire a similar skill set? So when you go and say that out of your own passion, you're going to learn, you have learned all these things and you've done the hands-on in one of these, uh, you are going to be in a very good, you are going to have a great edge over the other folks. Okay. Now, when it comes to engineering, right? There are different aspect to a performance engineering. If you see this Venn diagram, right? It is a combination of testing, which I think you might be already doing it, performance testing, and some of you might be good in system analysis. System analysis. Uh, when I say system analysis,
Satish,
it's actual. Um,
sorry to interrupt you, but I'm not able to see your screen. So are you sharing? Is it
I
able
am
to?
sharing it. I can able to see it in my mobile. Others, you guys able to see the screen?
I'm able to see it.
Yeah, we are able to.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Just log out and then log in once. Then.
Okay, okay, sure.
Sure. Yeah. So so testing is one chunk of the performance optimization, which you might be already knowing it. And system analysis is a complete all these profiling, monitoring, diagnostics will come under the system analysis, which you're going to learn a lot. Networking administration is something where you're not going to be a network engineer or troubleshooting network problems, right? But you should be able to go and do things on your own, installing tools, installing softwares. Uh, so now with the DevOps and pod structure, right? You cannot expect a person to come and do things for you, right? Installing all these engineering tools, installing Tomcat or JBoss, deploying your application. All this is what I call it as a administration or networking. Okay, you should be starting comfortable in doing these things by yourself. There are going to be problems. There are going to be issues. Everybody will face these issues when we install tools, softwares. It's not going to be new at all. But you should be able to do it with confidence, right? You should come out of the uh, uh, mindset where whether I'll be able to do it or not. Right? That's a very important thing from an engineering perspective. In engineering, you're going to face problems. You're here to not always, you are not going to be there for solving problems. In many times, out of 10 times, 5 times you might not even get a root cause at all. Okay, in 5 times you might get a root cause. So it's not about always finding a solution. It's more about uh, approach towards finding and solving problems. Okay, and then the fourth one is going to be the programming. It's not a mandatory. If you know some level of programming language like Java or Python, it is still good to have. It is not must to have. But knowing a structure of the application, what a developer will do, when you're going to profile the application, when you're going to find out problems saying that you have a memory leak in your object, you have a problem with your function or a method, right? Your method is this method in this class file is having a problem, right? I want to talk in these language, in these keywords. So at least from that perspective, this should not be a black box. Okay. So when I say programming, we're not going to go and develop applications. We're not going to go and modify the code when there's a performance issue, when we find out a problem. We're not going to go and uh, uh, fix the code and deploy it. Not all these things we are going to do it at all. Okay. But when I say programming, it's more about you getting comfortable with these terminologies, You should know what developer will do, right? These things in the course as well. We'll try to go and um learn few concepts from a developer standpoint. Okay. Uh, so all these things put together is going to be what we say is a performance optimization. But in that, the system analysis is the key one. Okay. So when I say system analysis or a performance engineering, right? Again, to sum up whatever you guys told, right? Whatever you guys have put into the chart is exactly like whatever I have mentioned here as well. Right. So when we say performance engineer or engineering, uh, you should have a good experience in reviewing the system architecture, deployment architecture. But this alone, the first, apart from the first point, everything else is something belongs to a beginner level or intermediate level. But the first one alone is something you with the experience with over the years you will gain it and you'll get involved. Okay, so reviewing the system architecture, um, analyzing the your NFR, and then suggesting the design changes, whether this design will meet your requirement or not, NFR or not, right? These things, as you gain experience, you would be getting involved at the design level, at a requirement level, right? Apart from this, everything else is going to be something very common from a beginner to intermediate level, right? Creating the engineering strategies for your application. You should be able to use the profiling tools and monitoring tools. You should be good at analyzing your heap dumps, thread dumps, GC analysis, tuning the GC parameters, tools like JProfiler, JConsole, Visual VM, good in analyzing your database queries or database interactions, client-side analysis, client-side profiling. All these things is what will make you as a uh, uh, ready for from an engineering perspective. Okay. Again, all these things will be cutting across your various SDLC, right? I think a couple of you have also mentioned about the software development lifecycle in your comment in the chat. So all these activities are going to cut across these different uh, phases of your SDLC. Okay. Now, why, as you one of you mentioned, right, getting a job with PT is not that relevant. The reason is when you know only testing, you might be getting involved only during the testing phase, right? The entire SDLC, and you might get started a little early for doing a scripting, right? But otherwise, uh, you would be say in a 6-month project, for example, right? Maybe you'll be getting involved in say 1 month, 1.5 month if you're going to be a performance tester. Now, if you're going to be a performance engineer, you're going to work along with the developer as and when they develop the API or as and when they develop a web application, you will be involved in doing your CPU profiling, memory leak analysis, client-side profiling, benchmarking your JVM. So as and when an API is getting developed, as and when UI is getting developed, right? For every component, for every this single unit, you will be performing a isolated performance engineering, and then it will continue throughout the development life cycle, right? And then you move into a testing where you do testing, do monitoring, and then there are problems you're going to analyze, dumps, heap dump, thread dump, GC analysis, all these things are going to do it, which means you're going to be a lot more relevant. You're going to be relevant throughout the development life cycle or SDLC, right? So you're going to pretty much be part of your entire 5 to 6 months. Okay, the activity will cut across from requirement to production. So that is where you will become more relevant in the job market or when you go for interview, because you are not only going to work during the testing phase but also the entire life cycle. I can see Manthan, you have a question, you have raised your hand.
Satish, sorry, I do not have question. Sorry to take your time. and for this as well. But I'm still not able to see your screen. I'm not sure why. I disconnected the session twice and connected again, and also
Oh,
downloaded
is
the
it?
app. Yeah, there's something wrong with me. I don't know.
Um, you're using you tried with both mobile and laptop, is it?
Yeah, just laptop.
Okay, 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 okay. Maybe some browser. We don't know really why it could be.
Oh,
Um, Anyway, it is
yeah.
getting recorded as well. It is getting recorded as well. So you should be able to just do a recap very quickly tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe tomorrow you can try it out with the Edge or other browser, or once you restart it, it should go away. Normally, it should not be a problem at all. And there is no prerequisite for this.
Okay, Satish. Okay. Okay, no problem. Sorry.
Yeah. No problem. No problem. No problem. Okay. Now, what I'll do is next 5-10 minutes, right? I'll spend time on what are the various topics we are going to cover. Okay. See, one thing that you will see here is, and there's something very frequently I get questions, right? 50% of the course content is going to be with Java. Okay. There are going to be very common topics like your AppDynamics, Dynatrace, Grafana monitoring, Oracle database, client-side profiling, engineering strategy, and then your synthetic monitoring, your resiliency or cloud performance, all are very going to be generic in nature, not very specific to a programming language or a technology, right? But the other things like your heapdom, threaddom, GC analysis, thread contentions, memory leak analysis, all these things are going to be part of a Java. Why Java? As I said, performance engineering is going to be technology agnostics, programming language agnostics. Any architecture you might have different programming languages, Java, .NET, Python, Node.js. It can be one or more definitely, right? And there are a couple of reasons why we have Java as a focus area. Number one, from a job interview perspective, wherever you go, when you're going to question, you will be mostly getting questioned around the Java. Okay. Second is, even today, Java is very relevant, and it is going to be relevant even in the upcoming years. At least easily 3 to 5 years, it's going to be relevant, and it's going to be your one of the main programming language or technology in any of your enterprise architecture. Okay. Number three, obviously, when you have a tailored syllabus, you cannot have everything included, right? Not possible. One, it's going to be too much to teach or too much to digest to learn for you guys as well. So we cannot keep teaching the topics for all the Node.js or .NET or whatever it is. Okay. So those are the three reasons. One, from a job, from an interview perspective. Second, from a Java is very relevant. Any enterprise architecture, you will still see Java. And third is, it is not practically possible to include everything, right? That's the reason. That's how we have tailored this also. Okay. So to start with, what we'll do is to break the barrier, right? I have since I have been like you, I know the mindset of a performance tester, right? When I started my career long back, I have also started the career as a performance tester, and I know what is the mindset of a tester, right? When we are going to talk about testing, when you talk about the results from your execution, when you go and say that there's a problem with your response time or error, we always get questioned about your script is having a problem, or you're having a problem with your data, your environment is not good, right? And developers or architects never they are going to accept that there's a problem with the application. Okay. And it's not going to be easy to go and convince them at all. Now, as a performance engineer, you're going to go and talk to them and then say that there is a problem, and also there's a problem because as your method or a class or a object is having a issue, right? Unless otherwise you are very comfortable with these terminologies, uh, with what it mean by, it should not be a black box for you. Otherwise, you are going to have a very tough time when you're going to talk about this. When you see a tool like JProfiler or AppDynamics, you will get a lot of information, right? And with that, if you go and talk to the developer, you're going to get questions left and right, and we will not be able to answer it. They can easily convince you, or they can easily distract you as well. Okay, so initially we'll spend good amount of time in understanding the Java basics from a programming perspective, from the all these concepts. We'll also go and write some build some programs in Eclipse. Again, not with the intention of creating an application or a huge web application at all, right? It is more from a uh, understanding these terminologies, how a developer will go and create a code, how he is going to compile it, how one or more programs are going to assemble together, how one program is going to call another program. Right? All these things are all the building block of a application. So you should know what are those building blocks, so that nothing is going to be a black box for you. Okay, we will do some hands-on, create some programs. You can also try it out, though it is not mandatory, but I would recommend you to do these things. At least follow whatever I'm doing, it just follow, so that you get these hands-on as you learn. Okay, blindly also at least do it. I mean, even if you're not very confident, if you don't know, right, just try it blindly. uh, do whatever I'm going to do, that should be good enough. Okay, so we'll spend a couple of days on these Java basics and JVM basics, and then we go into the engineering. Okay, so from an engineering perspective, what we'll do is we will try to put ourselves in a position where, say, you are working for a project, you're as a performance engineer, your responsibility is to get early in a life cycle. We talk about shift left or early performance engineering, right? So whenever an API is getting developed, or whenever a new functionality is getting developed, it can be a login, it can be very small functionality. For every functionality, we have to go and do this response time slash CPU profiling and memory profiling. Okay, just remember, any technology, any programming language is going to consume CPU and memory. Okay, it is as simple as that. When you open a PowerPoint in your laptop, or when you open an Outlook in your laptop, any software, when a software can be a huge application, it can be a database, it can be a simple Word document, it can be a PowerPoint. Everything is a software, right? So when you open a software in your laptop, it is going to consume CPU, it is going to consume memory. Okay, huge application, small application, Java, .NET, PowerPoint, Outlook, Teams, whatever it is, as a software, it is going to consume CPU and memory. That is a very basic nature. And all we will try to do is make sure that your software is not going to consume the CPU memory unwantedly. It will consume CPU memory, right? That is a nature. But that it should be optimal, it should be meaningful, it should be proper, it should be optimized. That is what we will try to achieve through the performance engineering. Okay, if you can keep it very simple, that is a very underlying objective. Every software is going to consume CPU memory. Okay, and then our objective is to, as a performance engineer, to make it optimally use it. Okay, and when it comes to CPU and memory, okay, say your application, your web application, okay, and you have a login, you have a search, you say adding a product to a cart, checking out your product. All these are various functionality of a retail application. I mean, like Amazon.com, right? Say a login application, when you type in your user ID and password and login, your code is going to get executed in the server, which is going to consume a CPU, right? Whenever your code is going to execute it, it needs a CPU power, it needs a processing power, right? So it will consume CPU. And then there are going to be a lot of, in the program, they're going to declare variables, right? Integer, character, whatever it is. Right? Even if you have simple addition, a plus b is equal to c, a has to be declared, b has to be declared, c has to be declared. Correct. So these going to consume memory. Okay. So initially, from a shift left or early performance engineering, okay, for your every APIs or for every functionality, we will go and do the CPU profiling to optimize your response time. We'll do a memory profiling to arrest if there are any memory leaks. Okay, this is something we call as early performance engineering or server-side profiling or a single user profiling that we do for every functionality. Okay, so we'll go and let me go to my sample application as well. My sample application is running in a Tomcat. Okay, in the Tomcat, I already have a. I'll give it, all these setups also will be available to you guys, so that you can install these things in your machine. I'll tell you how to use this and all probably tomorrow. Okay, so this elibrary.war is already deployed and it is started in my machine. Okay, and it's a very simple setup. I'll explain you tomorrow how to set up this in your laptop. Okay, and then this is a library application. Okay, it's a library administration application where as an admin you can log in, or as a librarian you can log in. Okay, so as an admin, when you log in, you will be able to go and add a new librarian employee, right? New librarian, and also you'll be able to go and view all the existing librarians as well. Okay, and then say as a librarian, I can log in. Okay, and then as a librarian, I'll be able to go and view the books, view the issued books. I can go and add a new book. I can go and issue a book. I can take the book return. I can do a return book. All these are all various functionality of this e-library application. Okay, so this application, and what we'll assume that you're going to be part of this performance engineering for a e-library application, and then we'll take a couple of functionalities as an example. These functionalities will have some kind of a response time problem, some memory problem, some thread problems are already introduced in this application. Okay, so as part of the the engineering topics, right? We'll start with the response time profiling, memory leak analysis, before and we go and use this application as an hands-on. Okay, and we'll use the tools like JProfiler. See, the tools which we are going to use it are either it's going to be commercial licensed tool or it is going to be open source. But either way, even if it is going to be commercial tool like JProfiler or AppDynamics or Dynatrace, there are trial licenses available which you can pretty much use it for your hands-on. There's nothing like I will be able to do it and you won't be able to do it. Everything, whatever I'm going to teach you, should be able to easily go and get a tool installed in your machine, or you should be able to get a trial licenses with which you can easily practice. Okay, that's very sure. Okay, so from an early performance perspective, response time analysis, profiling is what we will get started with. And then from a memory perspective, we'll go and learn some concepts about heap, stack, and the Java memory structure. And then we'll go into the memory leak analysis, heap dumps, garbage collection analysis. So from a memory perspective, we'll probably spend a week, 4-5 days easily to go over all the topics related to your memory leak analysis, heap dump, and GC, garbage collection. Okay, and then so you guys would have known about thread, right? Threads are nothing but, say, when I said for you to do a login, login code needs CPU power, it needs memory, right? Your threads are like a task handler. There has to be some kind of a handler, or you can just think that they are workers. Okay, in your OS, in your laptop, there will be threads which are nothing but a worker, which will take the work and it will go and execute the code. Okay, you just think that your thread are nothing but a workers. Okay, that can be 10, 20, 30, 100 workers. Uh, that will be part of your application who will receive the work like login, search, checkout, add to cart. They will receive the request and then they will go and execute the code and then they will deliver it. Okay, so again, from a thread perspective, we'll go and understand what are Java threads, thread contentions, what are thread problems you might get it, when to do a thread dump analysis, why you take thread dump analysis, what is the thumb rule for taking a thread dump, and then how to analyze the thread dumps. All these things we will learn in detail. Okay, and all these things are all from a server side, right? Completely server side profiling from a thread, memory, and CPU profiling. Okay, from a customer perspective, from an end user perspective, right? So you accessing the Amazon.com, if response time is bad, you will not know whether it's a problem with your database or your middleware or a server. For you, it is a problem. Your page-to-page response time is slow. Okay, so even though your server side is all analyzed, properly optimized, still if there's going to be a problem at the client side for whatever reasons, right? So it's very important to analyze the performance from a end user perspective, from a client side perspective, because that is what a user is going to use it, right? They're not going to use the API directly, they're not going to use the database directly. They don't know whether your application is a Java or a Python. For them, it's an UI. They load the website, they access it. If the response time is bad, it's bad. They are going to have a very bad experience. Okay, so understanding your application performance from an end user perspective is what we call it as a client side testing, client side profiling, or your front end uh, testing, right? So we'll go and we'll learn what are all the various metrics you will capture from a client side perspective, how to do a testing as a first time user, go and understand a couple of concepts like caching. From an optimization perspective, what kind of recommendation we can give to the developer when it comes to front end optimization. All these things we'll learn from a client side perspective. Okay, and as we move forward, we'll also go and learn about your creating your monitoring strategy. Okay, see, we go and create a test strategy. We'll usually go and create a test plan, right? It's very equally important to create a monitoring strategy. Okay, it's a very simple logic. You spend a lot of time in doing a scripting, okay, and then you go and do an execution. Why we are doing it? Unless otherwise you would be able to observe what is happening, right? You will not be able to certify, or you will not be able to tell that your system is good. Okay, see, Jmeter results, LoadRunner results is one indicator. All my response times are good, there is no error rate, it is all good. Okay, but when there can be 10 components in your architecture or 5 components, you have to know how healthy those components are. Unless otherwise you will be able to monitor those components, you will never know how good, how bad your application is. Okay? It is like simple. See, we as a person, we might be looking good. You might be able to play. We will be able to go and run. Physically, we might be fit, right? But it doesn't mean that you are healthy, right? There are going to be your vitals like your blood pressure or your glucose level or your other your fat levels, your liver, your kidney, your heart. All these are all various components of your body, right? And until otherwise you uh, constantly or frequently or at least periodically monitor it, you never know how good you are, and we will not know when we are going to break down, right? Similarly, in application also, just looking into the response time from a Jmeter LoadRunner, it is okay, it is still required. But one of the component in your architecture, if it is going to be running at a 90% of the CPU, or your heap is running at 95%, your response time will be still good for whatever reason. But that component can break down very easily for what, I mean, if there are any fluctuation in the load or pattern, right? So unless otherwise you're going to monitor your all the components, you will not be able to certify your application at all. Okay, so for that you should have a very solid monitoring strategy. What are the components? What are the various softwares in that component? What is the OS? What are the tools available to monitor? How am I going to monitor it? Everything should be part of your monitoring strategy. Very, very important. As a performance engineer, your objective is to find problems. Okay, to monitor, observe, and then find problems is going to be your mindset. Okay, so we'll go and learn how to understand these architecture, how to monitor, how to create a monitoring strategy as part of the course content. Okay, then we'll move into a couple of important monitoring tools: AppDynamics, Dynatrace, both being number one and number two tool. We'll go and see how to configure it, these applications. This e-library application, we'll try to go and configure it with these APM tools, and then we'll learn how to use these APM tool as well. Okay, so one from a configuration perspective, and then second is more from the your using the tool from a monitoring and diagnostics. Okay, and we also will go and see what open source monitoring Grafana. Okay, again, very, very important from a project perspective. You sometimes you might not even get an access to these Dynatrace, AppDynamics. It might not be even there. At least basic minimum monitoring using Grafana, you should be able to do it. We'll go and install these tools, InfluxDB, Grafana, and then we'll learn how to use it. Okay, so all these things from a application perspective, right? Application, your server side. From a database angle, we are not going to be database engineer or DBAs. Okay, they are the database engineers or DBAs are the one who are going to take care of your overall performance of your database configuration, setting up the number of instances. All these things are going to be taken care of your database DBAs. Okay, from an application performance engineering perspective, we will go and see what are the various concepts of Oracle. We will go with Oracle because Oracle again, like Java, Oracle is also a one of the enterprise database that you will see in a lot of architecture. Okay, so we'll go and learn CPU memory architecture of an Oracle, how to take AWR report, when to take AWR report, what are things that you will be looking into AWR report from an application performance perspective, right? All these things we'll learn from a database. And then we'll go into some theoretical concepts of what is non-functional requirement, how to create engineering strategy for an agile project. Okay, so far whatever I have told, right, everything is going to be practical, some 20% theoretical, and then the practical and so on. Okay, the NFR engineering strategy, that alone is going to be probably a concept oriented, a theoretical session. Okay, and in addition to that, okay, so after, I mean, pretty much all these things are from engineering, right? From a future readiness, though cloud DevOps are already there, I won't say even it's a future, right? It is already there for the past 3, 4, 5 years easily. You might have heard about DevOps and cloud. Okay, but still, even though it is not an engineering topic, but when you go to any interview, you'll be questioned against DevOps and cloud. So you will have an introduction to DevOps. You will get a video which was recorded from me, right? You'll get an access to that. What are the practical challenges when we are trying to integrate performance testing into a pipeline? What we should do, what we should not do. That content you will be getting access to it once you enroll. Okay, synthetic monitoring, again from a resiliency perspective, from SRE perspective, synthetic monitoring is very important. You'll also get access to that video from me on the day one when you make a payment and enroll it, and you can look into this video offline, and we can also discuss in the session as well if you guys have any questions or clarifications. Okay, and Python being going to be part of every architecture going forward with AI, data science, Gen AI. We'll also go and see some of the basics of Python architecture We'll also, when we go and monitor the AppDynamics and Dynatrace, right, APM tools, we'll also configure these APM tool with Python microservices, and then we'll see how to monitor these Python, and then how to troubleshoot the response time of Python also. Okay, and cloud is also one more important topic. So we'll go and learn cloud performance from my introduction to cloud. There are myths around cloud with performance, why performance testing is required in cloud. Cloud is going to take care of the scalability performance. We'll go and learn why it is not correct, why it is required to do performance testing given in the cloud, what is resiliency, what is auto scaling. So all these from an introduction perspective, we'll go and learn. Okay, you'll also get access to the recorded videos, some 6 to 8 hours video of each of Splunk, Linux for performance testers, performance automation for Selenium, right? So these are all some of the off-topic, not engineering, but still relevant from a current market, also from my interview. That's why we have added these videos as well, which we thought it will be relevant for you guys to learn it offline. Okay. So yeah, pretty much we'll be doing an hands-on in most of these topics. We will use these e-library application and couple of more web services to test, profile, fix a problem. I'll also have an Eclipse in my machine with the code of this e-library application, right? So we'll be also able to go and explain you if there's a problem, where is the problem in the code, or what are we fixing it. With the help of the code, you'll be able to even more understand it better. Okay, but you don't need to worry about when I say code and all, right? In a project, it is not required for you to go and test the code at all, right? We as a performance engineer, our scope is to identify problems, identify the root cause, tell what to do, how to do, where to do and all. It's not our job. At least at the intermediate level, we will not be doing it. Maybe if you are a good in Java, expert in Java, and with the experience, you can also go and probably go and test the code also in the future. But in general, no, it's not required. Okay, so all I need is for you to do an hands-on for sure. At least once you can do an hands-on, right, of all this topic, that will give you immense satisfaction and confidence. Okay, and all I need is just your laptop and some very basic software like Java, Eclipse, and Tomcat to be available. Nothing more than that. As we move along, I'll tell you what to install, from where to install. I will have every artifact, everything in the drive. Okay, whatever I do, I'll be sharing it through drive. All the war files, all the documents, sample scripts, everything will be there in the drive. You will get an access to my drive once you register and make a payment. Okay, you can download it from here for every topic as I explain you. Then you can download it from here, and then you can do an hands-on. I'll stop it here, guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask.
Anything
Sessions will be
related
between
to
9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Okay. Yeah, please.
anything related to GenAI prompt engineering, because it was
Yes,
mentioned in the course.
yes. Absolutely, yes. Definitely. See, the Gen AI, it's going to be like your Google search. What we do now, what you do earlier, from going forward.
Yeah, because
These
nowadays people are using GenAI for the performance engineering and performance testing.
Yeah, it's if everywhere, right? Across SDLC cycle, SDLC, right? You'll be using it for using the LLM and GenAI. Okay, so one from uh, uh, generating your test plans, generating your NFRs, creating scripts, analyzing your data, creating some reports. GenAI is going to help assist performance testers for sure. There are going to be plus and minus for that. So you will have an introduction to GenAI, definitely. What are the various use cases from a performance testing perspective? We'll go on. I'll go and explain you from basics of what is large language model, what are capability of these models, what are the various use cases of from a testing and engineering perspective. There are cloud providers like Azure, AWS with Azure OpenAI, Bedrock. How are we going to use these tools and services? What is happening in real time? How the your code companion tools like GitHub Copilot, how are we going to use it? Right. So from a introduction to GenAI, the basics, use cases, and we can have some very good interactive sessions as well on this GenAI, which is a very, very interesting topic. So we will have definitely couple of sessions on GenAI. How are we going to use it for the performance testing as well?
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, and this session is going to be between 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. IST, the same time what we connected. Okay. Any questions on payment registration, you can reach out to the WhatsApp group admins or to Kumar sir directly. Any questions on the course content, whether it is relevant or not for you? If you have any doubts, questions, you can connect with me tomorrow
How
during
much
the
time it will
daytime
take to
also.
complete? Like, what's the duration for this course?
See, normally it will go over some 20 to 24 sessions. So you can assume that it will go till this month end for sure, or maybe a week additionally also in October.
Satish, the sessions will be on weekends as well, or it's Monday to Friday?
Mostly it is Monday to Friday only. If in
Okay.
case if there is a holiday or for some reason I couldn't able to take it at in a big day, maybe on Saturday, one of the Saturday. Otherwise, it's Monday to Friday is what it is planned.
Okay. And the timings are fixed, right? We cannot once half an hourly, like 8:30 to 9:30 is something.
We can definitely, again, based on everybody availability, right? We can definitely do at 8:30 or 8 also, because I know this is little late, but based on majority of people's earlier requests, we have kept this. But we can definitely discuss with everybody. If they are okay, we can prepone it by 30 minutes or 1 hour also. I'm completely okay with those options.
All of the sessions will be recorded, right? In case we miss any
Ev-
of these.
Yes, everything will be recorded, and then the next day, before noon, the recording will be available, and recording will be available forever. There is no limit.
Okay.
There's no time limit.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So once you make payment and register, right, then we'll discuss as a group, and then we can prepone it by 30 minutes or 1 hour, as per the. We cannot satisfy everybody, but at least majority of the folks, if they're okay, will continue with the same timing. Okay. And again, as I said, tomorrow during a daytime IST, if you guys have any questions, clarification, if you guys want to discuss about whether it is relevant or not with your experience, with your skill set, you can ping me in the group. I'll just send a message with my number. You can always reach.
It will be helpful, Satish.
Okay, I can see Rajesh when pick it.
If
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
send your
yeah.
number, it will be helpful, right? So we can talk.
Yes. I will post a message after this session is over today. You can message me in the group or separately, and then we can connect over the short call tomorrow.
And the number of days,
Okay.
Satish, those are fixed, right? Means if it's possible to cover all these things within a 20 to 25 days, or if required, we can
Yeah,
extend.
I mean, this is some, yeah, you see, if required, is always going to get extended. Depends upon how interactive the session is going to be, how much questions we are going to get it, and we are going to discuss. Depending upon that, it might be plus or minus. But based on whatever you have been doing it in the last 2 to 3 years, it is around 22 to 24 on an average.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Those pre-recorded sessions that you already have, right? For example, for Linux and
Mhm.
other topics are also
Yes,
there, right? When do we get
yes.
access for those?
It will be probably once you register, make a payment, and
Okay.
after that, in a 2 to 3 days, a new group will be created, and then you will get an access. Probably you can assume that in